Hi artists, it's Mrs. Hewitt. It's so good to have you in class today. Today we're going to talk about the difference between 2D or two-dimensional shapes and 3D or three-dimensional forms. We're also going to be learning tricks on how to make a flat shape into something or draw something that looks three-dimensional or feels like it's coming out of the page. Let's get a closer look.
Let's first talk about 2D shapes. Now 2D stands for two-dimensional. Two-dimensional means it goes in two different directions, or two ways. It means it goes up and down and side to side like seen on this square. This shape is two-dimensional. Those are the shapes that you know: rectangles, diamonds or rhombuses, circles, triangles, squares, and ovals. Now let's jump to 3D forms. Now in math class you probably heard them as three-dimensional shapes, but in art class we call them forms instead. A form is any time an artist uses tricks to create the illusion of a three-dimensional shape. So instead of it feeling or looking flat, it feels like it's popping out of the page, like a rectangular prism, a cone, or a sphere. Let's look a little bit closer at one of our 3D forms, which is a cube. This one also has up and down, side to side, but this time it also has back and forth. This 3D form goes three ways or three dimensions.
This video is going to be a I do, you do, I do, you do. Anytime I'm working too fast, you push pause. Pause me, and whenever you're ready to continue to move on, you push play again.
You'll just need the basics today: paper or your sketchbook, a pencil, and an eraser. And you are going to be creating right alongside with me, so get yourself ready and let's get started. Let's start with the basics and drawing 2D shapes first.
So we're actually going to start with the very basics of how to hold a pencil. I know that sounds silly. You're probably going, Mrs. Hewitt, I learned how to do that in preschool. But sometimes people have such a grip on their pencil that they don't quite draw as smoothly as they can. So here's the tip. When you get ready to hold your pencil, you're going to make a teardrop shape. And you're going to put your pencil in your fingers like this. So then your point is at kind of the crevice of your hand. You're going to flip it around, let it rest, and put your pencil underneath. Now, when you hold your pencil, it should be a light grip. And the reason we wanted a light grip is because when we draw, we want to be able to draw lightly. And the reason we want to draw lightly is there's a couple of things about it. When I practice drawing a triangle, I am making sketch lines. Those sketch lines are created by lightly drawing. And if I make a mistake, it's going to be much easier to erase than a dark, thick line. And when people move really fast, they often make errors. So I go slow. So I'm practicing drawing my basic shapes: triangles, squares, maybe I practice making a rectangle. And there's nothing that's going to be perfect. Drawing is not about perfection. It's about learning to hone your skills and change your skills so you get a little bit better every time. Maybe I make a circle, so I practice it in the air first. Now notice that I had a bit of a drop in my work here, so I went back through and continued my work. Now, you can also, let me practice an oval, and I'm gonna on purpose make it kind of wonky. So I didn't quite do the sketch lines. What I wanna do is bring it out. So I don't erase yet. I'm going to bring that line out to the place that I want it by lightly sketching in a new or changed shape. Then I can clean it up to erase it. So my job to begin with is just to practice drawing my basic shapes by lightly holding onto my pencil and drawing in from there. Now here's where the fun starts. We are going to be creating a cube. Now whenever I start creating a cube, I'm going to start with that basic shape first. I'm lightly holding onto my pencil and I'm going to make a horizontal line, a vertical line, and another one here. So I'm drawing my cube. The lengths of each of those needs to be as even as I can. Next, what I'm going to do is, this one is going to be a solid shape. It's going to feel like it is not able to be seen through. And from the corner, I'm going to make a diagonal line. I'm going to go to this corner and make a diagonal line that's kind of matches or is parallel or equal to that same kind of, like the way that it's pointing off into space. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to match this line again by coming down from the corner and connect the lines. Then I'm going to match this line or my horizontal line from this edge and bring it all the way through. Notice I'm not worrying about being perfect. I even crossed over the edges. I do have a place that I need to erase, but as long as I'm lightly drawing, it's going to be much easier for me to erase those mistakes. Now, here is my solid shape, but I want to talk to you about what I want to do if I want to make it transparent. Transparent means you can see through it. Some of you may have already practiced this and know how to do this from just being around in the world. I make another square, so I do those vertical and horizontal lines. Now this time, I'm gonna make a second one, so it's like I'm making the back of the shape, but I'm going to overlap them. So then they sit together like this. So this is supposed to be the front and the back. Now, I'm going to take this corner, let's call it corner 1, and I'm going to connect it to corner 1 on this second square. Here's corner 2, here's corner 2, and I connect those with a line. Here's corner 3 and corner 3 on the back. Here's corner 4, and I connect those together. So now it looks like I can see right through it, or that it's clear. Next, let's do a triangular prism. The thing that I love about triangular prisms is that you can turn these into a lot of different things in art making that we'll explore next week. So I'm gonna start with my triangle. Just like I did with my cube, I am going to bring a diagonal line that goes in the same direction, and then I'm going to mimic this line to make my solid shape. Erase anything that you don't need. Now, if I wanna make it transparent, I am going to make 2 triangles that overlap. I match corner 1, corner 2, corner 3, and erase the part that I don't like. The trick that I figured out as I've become an artist and practice longer and longer is that whenever I'm trying to create the illusion of depth, or that something's coming out of the page, the part that's closest to you, if you darken it, it creates the illusion of form. Now, this is what I love about triangular prisms, is I can change the shape or the placement or the direction of my triangle, bring my lines down in different ways. Actually, I think I want to angle this one just a bit. So because I have those butterfly lines or those sketch lines in, I can erase this, easily erase this. And I transform it into a new shape. I'm gonna do it one more direction. If I flip this, what we perceive as upside down, so that the point is coming towards me instead, I can bring a line down from this corner to make a vertical line, another vertical line here, and I make them all so they're about the same length. I'm going to make a parallel line here and here, and the one that's closest to me, if I darken it and thicken it just a bit, it will create the illusion of it popping out of the page. Now let's move on to the rounded shapes. First, I'm going to start by making a sphere or a ball shape. Now the tricky part is this doesn't change much. The only thing that I have found that's the easiest way to turn a circle into a sphere is by adding the illusion of a highlight. So then you create a little glare, kind of like a bubble. Next, let's do a cylinder. A cylinder, to start, it's solid. I'm going to start with an oval or kind of a pancake shape. I want it to be a flat oval sitting here first. I'm going to go from the edges here, and I'm going to go directly vertical. When I draw vertical lines, my little tip that I didn't tell you earlier is, instead of using my wrist, which wants to create a curved line, I am going to pull down with my entire arm, keeping my hand rigid and stiff. Then what I'm going to make is a smile line or a curve. If I want to make it feel like it's transparent, I am going to make 2 pancake shapes or ovals that are as close to in front of each other or on top of each other as possible. Again, from the corners, I come directly down. Now notice these ovals were not sitting directly on top of each other. So I go back through and I clean it up so that they are, and I erase any extra lines that I have for my work. If I want to make it feel like it's coming out of the page even more, I darken those front lines to create the illusion of depth.
Our next rounded shape is going to be a cone.
Our cone is going to come down almost like a triangle or an A, but I'm not going to complete it. Instead, I want that curved line here, just like I did in the cylinder. So I have a smile line. If I want it to feel transparent, I'm actually going to start with the oval at the bottom first. Up from there, I draw in that A shape so that it feels like it's transparent. You can also flip it on its head. So if you're thinking about an ice cream cone shape instead. So your job now is to play around, try different shapes, see what you can do with them, and continue your practice.
All right, before I let you go, hold that thought. What I want you to do is I want you to first add a response on Seesaw, and I want you to post to your art teacher the 3D form that you're the most proud of. Then what I want you to do is make sure that you keep this in a safe place. Make sure that you bring it back to your art class next time, because we're gonna use this to transform it into something different. Have a really great week, and thanks for creating. See you next time.
Stay here for bonus forms. Check it out. Moving to a rectangular prism, it reminds me of the cube.
Except for instead of a square, I am going to make it a rectangle. So I have 2 sides that are long and 2 that are short. I take my corner and I go and make a diagonal line, make a diagonal line, make a diagonal line from each corner, and I try to make them so they're pointing in generally the same direction or at the same angle. And then I bring this line down. So I'm just matching here, and I'm going to match this side. If I overshoot that line, I'm going to erase it. Same thing with a transparent shape. So I just made a solid. If I want to make it transparent, I make 2 lines. Connect corner 1, corner 2, corner 3, and corner 4. Now let's go to a pyramid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a triangle first. I make those diagonal lines and connect them at the bottom. I can erase and clean up anything that I don't like. Then from here, from one of the corners, I can go from either direction. I am going to make a vertical line or a diagonal line. Then I connect the top point to the end of the line, and I have a pyramid. Now, if I want to make it feel like it has bricks on it, I am going to mimic the horizontal line first. So here's the horizontal line. I'm going to make a parallel line, or a line that is almost like the number 11. Sometimes I call them buddy lines. So I make them just next to it, and they run along the same path. Now here's the part that we have to now adjust. This is now the line that I am going to mimic or make a buddy line with. I start at this point, and I am going to make that line run in a diagonal way. Here, I make another parallel line where I'm running them right next to each other. So now let's turn this pyramid into a transparent shape. Now sometimes the pyramid is a bit trickier or a bit tricky because the lines are so close together. So what I'm going to do is I am going to first draw out my normal solid shape, and I'm going to darken those lines so then they feel like they're the closest to me. So once I like them, I go back with that darker grip. Now what I'm going to do is really lightly, I am going to come from this corner and I'm going to make it look like it's a square base. So I'm going to go parallel with this line. So I come out, then I want to mimic this line. Then from there I go to the tippy top. This one's a bit tricky to read as a solid or a transparent shape. So what you want to do is make sure that those front lines are darker. That helps create the illusion of it popping out of the page.